My name is Amber Woolner. I am a stay-at-home mom. My husband owns a small business, so I support him in that, but I have 3 children. So I have struggled with insomnia my whole life. I can remember times as a child where I just couldn't get to sleep, and I remember even once my mom giving me like half a Unisom. After my youngest was born, I really went into a tailspin of not being able to sleep. I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer and had to go through multiple surgeries for that and radiation, and just something happened. I don't know what. And I just stopped sleeping one day, and I tried a bunch of different sleep drugs, went and saw a psychiatrist, and then we ended up deciding that Ambien was the best choice at that time. And the psychiatrist even told me, you'll probably be on this for your life, for the rest of your life. So we just kind of went with it. I was on a really low dose. It worked really well for me. And then one day it didn't work. And I have to say, I think I was on Ambien for about 4 years. So I was on it quite a while. And then I spent the next 2.5 years just trying to survive. I went back to not sleeping at all. And I mean, not sleeping for 2.5 years. I would kind of get 2 hours one night. I'd go 3 days without sleep. I might get another 2-hour nap. So I was just trying to sleep at any point in time that I could, but my brain wasn't allowing me to do that. So I felt like I was healing, because it takes a while for your brain to heal. And then 2020 hit. Even before March, I had a string of just really stressful situations, one after the other, and my sleep went away again. And I was in a hotel room for a funeral the next day, and I just couldn't sleep, and I knew it was because of all the stressors and the new environment and the time change. And it was 4 a.m. and I just started Googling any sort of help, and I found Somley, and I reached out at 4 a.m. for help. And I'm sure they get that all the time, all these people who are so desperate for anything, but I just knew I couldn't go back to the 2.5 years of no sleep. I couldn't do that. I mean, I was on the verge of checking into a mental hospital, because your brain just can't go without sleep. So that's kind of my journey to find Somley. It was a really long time coming. As far as events that caused my insomnia, I know a lot of it was just probably poor sleep hygiene from the get-go. But I do recall a situation where I was really ill, and my kids had all gotten strep throat, and one of them even ended up having scarlet fever. And I had strep throat, and I didn't realize it because it didn't look like my children's strep. And I had let it go, and then that morphed into everything you could possibly imagine. I had double pneumonia, double ear infections, double pink eye, a sinus infection. I was just violently ill, and I ended up having to do a really strong course of antibiotics, and that was what kind of triggered a really bad bout of insomnia, which led me to the Ambien, which, so I wasn't really taking care of the underlying issue. I was just putting a Band-Aid on. When I found Somley at 4 a.m., I had looked at several different CBTI programs. I liked the testimonials. I liked that there was a direct contact to somebody. It wasn't just this, put in your info and at some point some robot's going to respond. Dr. Oxman called me, talked to me. We had weekly phone calls. And at the beginning, there was quite a struggle because my brain was not happy with the changes and the adjustments it was having to make. And I was able to text him, call him, he was available, and I appreciated that, because sometimes you feel like an anomaly. And it was really good to know the assurances over and over that you're going to get better. And that was also on the website. This is going to work. We have a proven track record. I just had a really good feeling about it when I found it. So when somebody is willing to put that on the line and say, look, we're just here to help you. I felt that right from the get-go, these are people who are here to help me and not try to earn money off of my struggle. So after Somley, it's much better. Even though my sleep, I wouldn't say is 100%, I'm probably at about 80%. And I describe it before as a pendulum swinging, and I was just swinging wide. And sometimes I'd sleep, and mostly I wouldn't. And I started on this program, and it started to even out. So the swinging wasn't so wide, and now I'm like so close to that center. It's good. And I notice now if there's any change, so if we go on a trip or there's a time change, I just know to look for that now. And I know, instead of panicking, because before I didn't know what was going on, I realize, I identify it, and I know that it's gonna be a little bit of a, not struggle, but I'm just gonna have to adapt. And once I adapt, I do pretty well. So I would say the biggest difference is I no longer am in a mental panic. I'm in a much better place mentally, where I just am okay, and I know that the sleep I get is going to be quality sleep. So I'm going for the quality versus the quantity. I think anybody who decides to do this program will notice right away that there's going to be changes in the way they approach sleep. But the way my life is now is just 180 degrees. I can get up early. And before that was, I went years not seeing my kids out the door sometimes just because I couldn't get up. I had not slept. Years with my husband in a different bed so that I wouldn't keep him awake. He had to go to work, and he was kind of bearing the brunt of getting the children out the door in the morning. I have energy to do my working out, to go run errands, to volunteer in the classrooms, to go swimming with my kids or on a bike ride, just anything and everything. Before, it was everybody walking on eggshells because I was so exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally, that I could only just go through the motions and say, okay, I've made you dinner. That's all I have in me. So already everybody is just much happier. It's a lighter feeling in the home. It's just a lighter feeling in my life overall. And I really appreciate being able to go through this program and realize I don't need a pill. I don't need a magic oil or spray or mask or anything. That the brain knows what to do. You just need to give it what it needs, and then it will take over and do the rest. One of the reasons I wanted to do this testimonial, a video one, is because I'd watched a few, and some of them were from Somley and some of them were from other companies and programs, but I always felt like someone like me wasn't represented. And I know I'm not alone. I'm not alone, because I've seen communities out there where people are getting off of benzodiazepines and Z-class drugs and struggling for years and years and years. And, for the most part, I've seen cognitive behavioral therapy work. I think on average it's like 6 to 8 weeks, and then people are back on track. And I was not one of those people. I was a 6 to 8 months type person. And I just want people to know that they're not alone. They're not an anomaly. It might take a little while, but there's healing out there and there's help out there. And your body and brain know what to do. They want to heal. And there's hope for people like me.